Lois Lane is about to kill Superman. Oh, this is Absolute Superman Chapter 2, and right now Lois Lane has Superman in cuffs and a gun that blasts electricity pointed to his head. But of course, this is a mix of ignorance and stupidity. Like I said, we will be going back and forth between Krypton 6 years ago and Earth now. Krypton, the Red Lands, 6 years ago. The teacher through the screen congratulated other students on their assignment, up until it came to Kal-El's turn. The teacher stated that I was confused as to what Kal-El has submitted. It turned out that Kal-El had not written his assignment like other students. Rather, he employed very descriptive text and had written his assignment based on his experiences. However, this method was greatly frowned upon, as students were required to use generative text from the cleric's luminarium. The teacher stated that he would like to talk to Kal-El's parents after the class, after which he continued to congratulate the other students on their work, while Kal-El, bored with the class, laid back on his back and took a nap. On Earth, the gun sparked with electricity as Lois Lane stated that if Superman moved, she would blow his brains out and ordered him to get on his knees. But Kal-El could not be bothered by her. He tried to break the cuffs she had used on him, but it was surprisingly too hard. Just then, the AI known as Sol spoke up saying that Kal-El was too weakened and he needed to leave the place as soon as possible. To which Kal-El replied, asking the AI whether he wanted him to rip off her hands. Those words alerted Lois Lane, and she fired at his head. Superman sighed at this. Such attacks were beneath him. Instead, he instructed the AI to remove the cuffs for him, to which it complied. Meanwhile, before them were battalions of soldiers with weapons all pointed at Superman. One of the soldiers shouted that Superman was resisting arrest, and another stated that he was attacking Lois Lane. And the last one instantly concluded that since he was attacking her, he needed to be neutralized. They did not wait for an explanation as they bombarded him with blasts of electricity, to which Superman hurriedly jumped in to save Lois. As he did, the AI known as Sol instantly took control, becoming a huge red dust that moved like a cape. The cape enveloped Superman and the nagging Lois Lane, who was unsurprisingly still giving Superman death threats and shot him a few times. Superman complained nicely that she was making things very difficult for him to save her life, but instead she insisted that Lazarus did not want him dead and only wanted him on his knees. Superman was tired of talking to her and asked the AI if he had finished with the cuff, to which he replied it was far from being done. Lois Lane was mad that Superman ignored her, but he did not care as he instructed the AI to hold her firmly. A huge leap into the air and Superman was in the sky. Just then, the peacemakers were given permission from the Brainiac system to use chemical rounds on Superman, to which a peacemaker stated that the life of Agent Lois Lane would not be guaranteed, but the other had been given. 2 rockets were launched after Superman, and at the moment of impact, Sol wrapped around Lois Lane and Superman even tighter. Their descent to the ground shook the earth, and when the smoke was gone, Superman stood tall, carrying Lois Lane in his arms. However, this underappreciating Karen shot him another round from her electromagnetic gun, and then she reported through her comm that Superman had leaped only 8 miles away. Now Superman was getting angry. He had tried to save her life and she was attacking him yet again. Lois on the other hand stated that it was because he was resisting arrest and he was putting her life in danger. And then she added that he endangered everyone by being Superman. To which Superman replied that he was simply a man of the dead. And she made fun of him, saying if he was a man of the dead, it simply meant he was a hippie. Then she added that it was his suit that was giving him the power that he had, and he should submit it, and that the people had a right to know. But Superman replied, saying that Lazarus did not care about the people, and that to people like Lois Lane, other people were simply livestock. To which he called her arrogant, and that Lazarus embodied everything that was wrong with our planet. She got those words clear as day and asked what planet he was from. But before she would get an answer, there was yet again another explosion. Unfortunately, in this place there were some people on the streets, but Lazarus did not care and continued to fire at them. Effortlessly, Superman picked up a car and hurtled it towards the flying tank. It crashed heavily on the ground. Superman looked around him. People needed help, and he was going to do just that, help them. As Superman went around saving people, Lois Lane made a report to her superiors, stating that at first she had thought that the suit had been the source of Superman's power and that it was even sentient, but in time she discovered how greatly wrong she had been. She added that the full extent of his powers was still unknown, as if all that was happening was new to Superman himself, but that she could tell that he was a lost boy, but in some other ways he was a real man. After saving the people from the fire, Superman quenched the fire with his cool breath and then used the suits to heal the injuries of the people around him. Lois Lane found herself, to her own surprise, putting away her gun as she no longer saw Superman as a threat. The suit morphed and danced as it fully clothed Superman once more. Superman stated that people did not know what they had and how precious a place like Earth was compared to other barren planets just floating around in space. Lois Lane asked again what planet he was from, but before she could get an answer, Sol unlocked the cuff binding him and Lois together. Instantly, he shot into the sky just before reinforcement could come from the Lazarus Corporation. Meanwhile, Brainiac had received Lois Lane's report and asked through the system if she was advising apprehending Superman and if it could be controlled, to which she replied that it could not be apprehended or controlled. And Brainiac rephrased Lois Lane, saying that she was advising termination. Lois Lane got mad at the computer. Just then, a supervisor walked into the room, asking if she was done with her report, and she stated that the Brainiac system was getting her words wrong and she was going to have to rewrite the report manually. This surprised her supervisor, as Lois Lane was known to hate writing reports, but he let her do it anyway and walked away. Krypton 6 years ago. While Kal-El played with Krypto outside the garage, Jor-El and Lara-El walked within it. Jor-El could not help but ask Lara if she was sure about her design for the spacesuit and the rocket ship, to which she replied that she had designed this when she was only 12 years old. She stated that she would be needing a lot of sunstone, but that she was sure that it would work nevertheless. Molten Iron moved on command, weaving and dancing in the air as it wrapped itself around her arm. Jor-El observed this with intensity as he agreed that he was going to get sunstone that was necessary no matter the cost. He further added that he was going to tell the clerics of his finding, but Lara-El advised that the clerics would not listen to him and that even if they did, it would take many years before they would be able to build enough ships to evacuate the entire planet. Lara could not help but ask what his plan was going to be if they didn't listen, and he replied that he was then going to steal as much sunstone as he could carry. Both of them embraced as they made up their minds to take all that they loved and head to the stars. Superman stood before his signboard that had been vandalized. On one side it wrote, "Lazarus means death," and on the other side, "Join the Omega Men." Meanwhile, a peacemaker spoke with his colleague, saying that he had seen a lot of crazy things since he started working for Lazarus, but never had he seen a man like Superman. And then he turned to the workers, saying that he was sure that they knew where Superman was hiding and he was going to teach them a lesson. Instantly, he pointed his weapon and he fired at them. And this is the end of chapter 2. Thank you guys. Remember this, the channel is dedicated to all that don't have access to their favorite comics. So leave in the comments a comic you want narrated.